Simran, we are live now.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the webinar session organized by D Y Patil University as an initiative of facilitating exclusive interactions with our industry experts. Today's session is all about understanding the various career paths in IT sector. And today we have with us Mr. Ravi Kumar, Assistant Vice President at Axis Bank. Sir is a technocrat with nearly 15 years of experience in leading IT networks, security operations, access management for domestic and international customers across different verticals like IT, banking, finance, and manufacturing. Sir has worked with various firms such as Axis Bank, ChemGenie Private Limited, Dimension Data, HCL Comnet Limited, Allied Digital Services Limited, Primax IT and Infra Services Limited. Sir has certification of AWS Cloud Architect, Associate, and Microsoft Certificate of Azure Administrator, Azure AZ-104. A very warm welcome to you, sir.
Thanks for the introduction, Simran. So I'm really excited to be part of this webinar. So if it's
Your
okay, we
camera,
can start.
sir, your
Yeah,
camera.
1 second. Let me switch on my camera. I hope you can see me now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so it's okay if we start with this today's webinar.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so thanks for giving me the opportunity. And yes, the agenda of today's webinar is to understand the various career paths in IT. So as I have also done engineering from Mumbai University, and I wish I had no at that time somebody guiding me, having some about the different career paths that are available. So I have tried to have a like a very simplified, high level version of uh, the different career paths that is available. And it is not only the career paths that we are going to discuss, but it is I will also go get into the detailing on how to get your very first job and what are the things that will be helpful for the student. So I understand the target audience here is a student, and they are, I would believe, basic knowledge about the IT. So yeah, so we'll start with the presentation. So I'll share my presentation. Can you make me the presenter, please? Let me see. Yeah, so I'm going to share my screen. Let me know once you are able to see it.
Yes, sir, we're able to see you.
Okay, so the very first question, no, career in IT. Okay, IT is very vast. Okay, so if somebody says that he knows everything about IT, he must be lying. But truth is, you will never get to know everything about IT. Okay, it's a very broad term and can be really overwhelming. So don't get bogged down when you see so many terminology, so many options. Okay, you have to take one step at a time, and this will be all about your learning journey. And IT is a field that is constantly evolving. Okay, and if you like learning and if you have a passion for technology like I do, you will enjoy this because your learning never stops. I mean, yeah, I can give you my example. I got myself certified 2 months back in Azure. So you will definitely going to enjoy, if you plan to have a wonderful and successful career in IT. Okay. Okay. So where do we start? Okay. This is a $1 million question. So I'm going to discuss some of the fields. Okay, but with a disclaimer that it's not limited to only these roles. IT can be really vast, and I'm going to get into detailing into some of the roles which is related to network security, cloud, and I'll be also touching IT manager or the governance roles. Okay. So the first role is like you can be a programmer or you can be developer. Right now in engineering, you are doing is you are doing a coding job. Okay, so what is the difference between a coder, a programmer, or a developer? Okay, so programmer is the one who does the programming, makes the program work, but he will be working on certain module, not all the modules. So when you get a job, into IT, you will probably your first job you will land as a programmer, and definitely the developer is someone who develops the entire software, who has basically the ability to code all the modules. A developer may decide to give some of the module to programmer. We also have a software engineer, so don't get confused with these terms. So software engineer is someone is who is like a senior to developer. Okay, so with experience, you will get to these roles. So definitely, this session will be more focused on the infra, network, security, cloud, where my expertise are. So the second role that is that is the system administrator role. So in this role, what is the system administrator? System administrator is somebody who is responsible for upkeep, management, or configuration, securely manage the day-to-day operations, mostly from the server standpoint. A system administrator can be a broad term, very broad term. There, the system administrator can be classified into Windows Server, Mac, right? You can be either a Windows system administrator or you can be a Linux system administrator. Okay, and there are some terms. So, what does this system administrator do exactly, and what are the skills that you would be, requiring to be a system administrator? So, system administrator, the skills that are required is the basic of networking, and definitely you will be doing the routine task like doing the configuration, creating a policy, creating managing the active directory, and doing a troubleshooting. You also need to have knowledge on the Unix, shell, PowerShell scripting. So these are the skills that will be required for system administrator. So these good starting point will be to start with few certifications that are offered by Microsoft, like MCSA, MCSE, right? The next role is the database administrator. So the what is a database actually? So database is in a very simple term. I would, if I have to explain you, if you are storing something, okay. For example, you are storing something in pen drive, okay. So similarly, large organizations have tons of data. The data may be related to your internet facing application. Like a large bank may have very sensitive data. There will be an operational data. So you have a database to store all this data securely. Okay. So the job of the database administrator is again to ensure the database are secure, the configuration is up to date. They are responsible for patching, configuring, upgrading database. Okay, So the database administrator is also one of the roles which can be a career option. Related to the database admin, there is also storage or backup administrator. So these are also specialized roles. So storage administrator would look after the storage or the capacity of the data to be stored. Backup administrator ensures the data are backed up. So you have data getting backed up on the tape backup, right? So these are the typical roles that comes with the database administrators. Okay. The next role you have is the network administrator or the network architect. Okay, so that's what that is something which I chose, and so you will not get to directly work as a network administrator or network architect. So you will start somewhere as a level one engineer, or where you will be having limited access. You will be doing things like monitoring. You will be checking the health status. There are different levels in network domain. So you will be working on things like routers, switches, firewalls. Okay, so these are the components no you will be working on. So level 2 engineer will have more privilege than level 1 engineer. So level 2 engineer will be able to do some part of the configuration. You will be working on the routing protocols. I'm sure you must have curriculum on the OSI layer, right? You have 7 layers in OSI. It starts with physical, okay, physical, network, transport layer, right? So you will be working mostly till OSI layer 3, which is the network layer, as a network engineer, network level 2 engineer. Okay. So when do you get to work as a network admin or network architect? So that then when you have achieved certain experience uh, to be able to uh, work on all the 7 layers, I would say. That is when you get to work as a network administrator, which is the level 3 or level 4 kind of a role. And certainly a good starting point to work as a network admin will be getting your CCNA certification that is offered by Cisco. Although there are various vendors in market, we call them OEM, original equipment manufacturers. But Cisco has the largest market share. Definitely, the other vendors are also catching up. So, CCNA, which is a course offered by Cisco, is a good starting point to get yourself into the network domain. Network architect. What do you mean by the term network architect? So, architect is somebody who has a knowledge about the network design, right? So today, if the design is uh, not good, there are chances that there will be outage, or if the network is running on single point of failure. So if that link fails, there will be definitely an outage. So it is very important to have a good design when we are considering the network architecture in mind. So there are definitely courses which is offered by Cisco to become a network architect. So, and there are online courses as well that you can refer to study about the networking. Okay. The next topic, in fact, I have covered in detail because it's a security is a vast topic. So I'll move to next slide where, yeah. So as I was speaking about the different network roles, you have L1, L2, L3, and network architect. Definitely, one cannot directly become a network admin or network architect. Okay, and you have the different certifications which we are also going to discuss in last. Okay, so security is a very vast topic. Okay, and and it's a very critical one. In fact, if you ask me what is the industry trend today, it's, I would say, security and cloud, and the security coupled with cloud. Okay, and definitely automation, your big data, your artificial intelligence, your data science. These are the areas where the industry is moving, or rather I should say already moved. So security is a very vast topic. So it I have tried to give a breakdown, but it is not limited to these. Okay, so it, you have an infrastructure security, right? What are the components which come under infrastructure? You have a firewall. What is a firewall? So firewall is basically it you can have a rules restricting the traffic to a corporate network. Okay, so you can restrict or define rules, specific rules to prevent the unauthorized access, or you can also do lot many things on firewall. Like you can have a intrusion prevention system, IPS, also integrated with firewall. Although, so what is IPS? So IPS is device. It also comes as a separate box where it is designed for attacks like SQL injection. So there is a website I would recommend you to visit if you have an interest in security. It's a OS. So every year OS releases the top 10 vulnerabilities. Okay, OS top 10, which has vulnerabilities like cross-site scripting, SQL injection, broken authentication. Okay, so these vulnerabilities keeps the ranking, keeps changing. Okay, so what is an IPS, intrusion prevention system? It's a signature based basically device where it detects such attacks, and it blocks them. Okay, and intrusion detection system is similar to IPS, but its role is just to detect the intrusion, not to prevent it. So why would you just detect the attack and not prevent it? It is for no, it is the logs are basically fed to some kind of third party tool or SIEM. I will also cover SIEM. Okay, so intrusion detection system is to detect the anomaly traffic. You also have a proxy. Okay, proxy device that is also very critical piece in any organization. So the what is the use of proxy device? You can limit the website access, basically block the URL. For example, if somebody is sitting in my office, they just cannot open Facebook, they just cannot open YouTube, or for that matter any malicious site. It is me as an administrator who will decide what are the whitelisted URLs that can be opened, from the company. So I will only allow those URLs, okay, to pass through the proxy. Okay, so all the requests hit the proxy to get the internet access. So that is the forward proxy. So we also have a reverse proxy, but I'll not get into much detail because we have time constraint. So I'm just touching the high points so that you are aware that these are the individual skills, and for all these skills there is a specific role, like firewall administrator, proxy administrator, IPS SME, right? There is also web application firewall. What is WAF? WAF is uh, WAF is a device which is which detects. It's more kind of a behavior based technology. So which have a track of source and destination, and it's also It's similar to IPS, but it is more kind of behavior based, and it tracks the source and destination sessions. You have a DDoS protector. So I'm sure you are aware about the denial of service. So normally the organizations are also prey to targeted attacks from the hacker, where there is a flood of request that is sent to the organization, and if there is basically they choke the bandwidth or test the throughput capacity of the device. So DDoS protector is a device which can rate limit the number of requests that are coming from a single source. You can configure basically various rules in DDoS. There is a VPN, which is a very critical piece now, especially in the COVID, where most of the people were working from home. So VPN is a technology that basically allows to have a secure connection over the internet. So you can have either site-to-site VPN, which is IPsec, or you can have SSL VPN. Okay, so it's also a very critical technology. You can have your career as a VPN administrator, right? There is a privilege identity management tool, which is for access management. So the PIM or the PAM tool, it's also called as PAM tool. It's for having a secure access to all the servers, especially in the organizations. Then there is a DAM tool, database, access management, which is to restrict the access to database, and a BitLocker. BitLocker is basically it is used in by the company to encrypt the data. So because the employees are carrying the laptop with them, so there are a good chance that the laptop may get misplaced. So the BitLocker helps to encrypt the data. Okay. So this is about the infrastructure security. You also have endpoint security. So endpoint security, you have antivirus. I think all of you are aware what is an antivirus, so I'll not go there. You have NAC, okay, network access control. So the job of NAC in any organization is to detect you can enforce certain policy. For example, you have an unpatched machine, or you have a user who is using old browser, or a user who is where the antivirus is not up to date. The NAC, network access control, can block all such requests until they get compliant. So this is, you can also be someone who has a skills on NAC, right? EDR. Okay, EDR is similar to antivirus, but not exactly similar. It has slight advantage because it can detect behavior based anomaly. Okay, and again, same is the file integrity monitoring, where uh, things like ransomware, right? You might have heard Petya ransomware, or there are different ransomwares, WannaCry ransomware. So these attacks are also increasing. So what the ransomware attack does, it encrypts your data, and then ask for a cryptocurrency to hackers basically ask for cryptocurrency payment to release the encryption key. So PIM, what it does, it constantly monitors the hash value to check the file integrity. Okay. So if the file integrity has changed, it automatically generates an alert. So as I said, security is a very vast topic. You also be a part of red team or blue team. So what is red team? Red team is like the offensive team, the team which does the penetration testing. Blue team is normally someone who fixes things. So you can do vulnerability assessment and penetration testing as a security professional. You get basically you can do it white box testing and black box testing. So what is the difference between the two? In white box testing, you get all the information like what is the server IP, what is the server OS, where is the server hosted, etc. As much information as you can to perform the penetration testing. Black box testing is the you will have no information but just a URL which you try to exploit. Okay, you can also do a config review, which is like a device hardening review. So, for example, if there is a device, so if it is properly logged or if there are any vulnerability which needs to be fixed. Okay, so you can do vulnerability assessment and penetration testing as a security professional. Okay, and definitely audit and compliance is something which you can do. There are the various audits that keeps happening. It can be a regulatory audit. It can be audit from Big Four, like your ENY, your Deloitte. So these audits are done by auditor. So you can also have a successful career as an auditor. You can so audit and compliance is one area you can, if you wish to part of security, you can also perform audit and compliance. Security Operations Center (SOC), okay, is a something which, as the name suggests, it is a centralized, basically dashboard where the monitoring is integrated, and you have tools like SIM or SOAR. Okay, where sorry, was there a question? Okay. So you have security incident event management SIM, which is basically a tool which is a part of SOC, which collects the logs from different devices, and it you can configure certain rules. So based on rules, there will be an alert. Okay. So security orchestration automated response SOAR is again something which where you can configure the automated response, okay, like blocking something. So these are the SOC is also area where you can target, okay, where you can have also successful career in IT security. Definitely the administrative controls like your policy, standard, guideline, procedures are something which uh, you will define. I mentioned you can also be a IT manager or part of governance team. So your role will be to ensure that the team adheres to the policy, standard, guideline, and procedure. So what is the difference between these four? So policy is like a high level statement, which basically has an intent for the IT security, and it spans across the business. So it is defined by normally the C executive, normally your CTO or your CIO. Standard is something which supports the uh, security policy. So it's a binding and it must be followed. Guideline is something if you don't have a standard, so guideline is something is used when standards do not apply, and procedure is definitely a detailed step-by-step process that must be followed. Like there is a process to do an upgrade, right? So this is the difference between your policy, standard, guidelines, and procedures. There are things like business continuity planning and DR. These are also very important. So business continuity planning is done to ensure your critical business functions continue to operate during the uh, during the event of crisis, right? So, for example, if there is a flood or if there is a cyber attack or there is an outage, there is a fire. So the big companies have the BCP and DR team for that. Okay. So as I was explaining previously, you can, if you are into governance role, you will be frequently hearing terms such as PCI DSS, ISO 27001, SOX, and other regulatory requirements such as RBI. Okay. So these are the different roles you can have in security. Okay. So the last piece is, which is very, it's already catching up, and uh, it is like cloud. So you can have a public cloud, you can have a private cloud, you can have hybrid cloud. So what is the difference between these three? So private cloud is privately hosted cloud. It can be a data center also. Okay. So, and the public cloud is the multi-tenant offerings, which is given by the cloud providers like AWS, Google, Azure. So the why cloud is catching up, and why we are hearing this every now and then. Okay, what is cloud exactly? Okay, so cloud is something which is basically which has three models. Okay, infrastructure as service, platform as a service, software as a service. So in infrastructure as a service, as model, you basically you will be managing the operating system, patching, configurations, everything. In platform as a service model, you will not have access to the operating system. You will uh, simply do the configuration. So platform as a service is mostly gives you an option to upload your code, and then you have software as a service where you will be just given a URL. So why organizations are moving to cloud? Because it is pay as you go model, right? So you don't have to uh, maintain a big data center, which is consuming your space, your power. You have a dedicated charge, irrespective of you are using it or not. You have to maintain a big team for the maintenance of the data center. So cloud is relatively cheaper if you know about you if you have a fair idea about your capacity. So I have seen that now many companies have already migrated from on-premise to cloud, but many companies still have a hybrid model where they are maintaining the on-premise as well as cloud. So I'll not get into much detailing because it's just an overview. You can have a career as a cloud engineer as well. Okay, so I'll discuss the certifications I've kept in last slide. Okay. Okay, so engineering degree good enough to secure a job? I would say engineering is certainly good to have, and as a student, you will get that best placement opportunity. Okay, but I would say it's a myth that only engineering degree will be give you that competitive edge. So you should be having basically a deep technical knowledge and passion for the technology, because as I told you previously, it's no, it is something where things are changing, and every 2 years there is something new you have to learn, right? So unless you have that passion for technology, you will not have that competitive advantage. So and I will also suggest to have an internationally recognized certification. Okay, so that will be coupled with your knowledge, your engineering degree will increase your chances to getting a good job. So why is the first job so important? So when I was doing my engineering, I in my time many of my friends I remember uh, were hired, and they were hired for non-technical roles, but they were getting paid. So I mean, it's my experience that you have to land your job. You have to ensure that their job should be in the area of your interest. So if you have planned to have a career in IT, so you should not be looking, at your starting salary, you should be looking at your what is the exposure that you are going to get. Even that big companies, once you get placed, they decide, what you should be doing. So look for opportunities where you get an hands-on, experience on different technologies, rather than looking for the package, which may not be relevant to your job role that you're looking for, right? So that will be my advice to all of you, is to look for the exposure and hands-on experience at least for 2 to 3 years, so that you get a very good learning and work experience on particular technology. Okay, so as I was saying, you can start with your interest, identify what are your areas of your interest. You can work on soft skills. Why soft skills? You Anybody will think, no, I'm an engineering graduate. What soft skill has to do with my job? I know coding. I am a CCNA, CCNP, CCI certified. I have cloud certification. Why I do not need soft skills? So trust me, guys. Soft skills are really important. Not just for getting your first job, but also for your promotion or for your growth, right? So I would also advise you to enhance your soft skill. At least know what they ask you in the interview. Common questions: where do you see yourself 5 years from now? What are your strengths and weakness, right? So these are things you should be prepared, when you have an interview. So soft skill is something which is also very important. Of course, global certifications are very, very necessary. It is a validation of your knowledge. So simply knowledge might get you job, but if you have a certification, it will definitely be very good, and it will increase your chances. Last thing is you should get your CV right, because I've been receiving CVs. I've been doing also hiring for like last 10 years, and so your CV should be as short and crisp as possible, maybe two-page CV. And the recruiters normally don't invest more than 7 to 10 seconds looking at your CV. So they should get all these keywords. Looking at your first page or second page, that's it. So you should try to have a very crisp and short CV, and then just mention your experience, your certifications, your area of expertise. Okay. Okay. So as I was speaking, that certifications are very is basically need of the hour, and these may not be all the certification, because I'm speaking from the standpoint of network security cloud. Okay, definitely if your interest is software, definitely this certification doesn't cover software. So CISSP, CISM, CCSP, these are the top certifications for security. Okay, and these are offered by ISACA or IC Square. You have CCNA, CCNP, CCI, which is offered by Cisco. PMP and Prince2, these are the project management certification. You will ask why these are important in IT. So once you grow with your experience, definitely once you have around 10, 12 years of experience, and if you have interest to become an IT manager, or uh, maybe assistant vice president or vice president, these certifications will definitely help you. AWS certification from the AWS, Azure, GCP, these will definitely help you to land your first job in cloud. And ISO 27001 and CISA are more from the audit standpoint. Okay, and I will also suggest you to use YouTube and sites like Udemy, where you will have uh, videos to for all these different courses. So you can do a self learning. Not necessarily you have to join some class. Okay, I have not joined any class. I have done this self learning for my certification. So I think it's easy to certify yourself, and you can do it yourself by doing the self learning. Okay, so yeah, so that's all from my side. I'm open to any questions that you may have.
So you can stop sharing the slide.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. So I had few questions, but I guess you have put all my questions to, you've given all the answers in your presentation itself. The certifications, the jobs they require, CV, I guess all the points you have covered. So I just want to ask you one question. Actually, it's not a question. I just want to
Okay.
know some of your success stories, if you would like to share with us.
Okay, I would say that I rather than discussing about my individual success story, I would try to I mean I have been managing team from like last 10 years, and I've been very picky when I'm hiring. So all the team members which have been like which they have worked under me, they are doing really well, and no, I, irrespective of whether they are part of same organizations or they have left. So so whenever I look at them, I feel proud because I feel that I, as a manager or as a leader, I have been able to groom them well. Definitely, there are different like success stories that I have been involved. Like I have done the migration for the National Stock Exchange when I was working as an engineer. Uh, I have done certain migrations for Axis Bank. So those are the stories that I would say part of my job. But something that makes me really proud is that people whom I have mentored, they're doing really well, and I'm still able to connect with them. So that is something which really makes me proud.
Yes, sir. Yes, rightly said. So, sir, coming to the end of this session, I would like to thank you on behalf of D Y Patil University for being the part of this whole session, giving all the insights of the understanding of the, career career path of the IT sector and giving all the information which is required to get into the IT sector. Thank you so much for sharing that piece of advice with us, and most welcome for joining us.
Thanks, Imran. Really enjoyed this session. Thanks for arranging this session.
Yes, sir. Most welcome.